right, I am Johnny Moe. Welcome to the Straight Talk Podcast. I'm a 23-year Air Force veteran, disabled vet, suicide survivor, son, father, husband, and brother. Just looking to spread awareness of addiction, PTS, suicide, how to navigate that crazy system we call the VA. Just educate and assist those who may be struggling with addiction, PTS, transitioning to civilian life, or just need a bit of guidance on how to be yourself at home as a civilian. Today's guest is Chris Miller. Chris is a former Marine, medically retired after two separate incidents, one of them being stabbed in the back during a riot in Haiti, and the other being a training incident that injured two other Marines. Nowadays, he is basically the $6 million man with everything he's got going on internally. He is an incredible ambassador for the Travis Mills Foundation and Dogs for Our Brave. His service dog, Zulu, is absolutely incredible. He has a hell of a story, and I'm proud to call him my brother and now a great friend. So please welcome Chris Miller. Chris, how you doing this morning, brother?
Hey, what's going on? Very, very well excited to be here, brother.
Good, man. I thank you for doing this. I know it's Saturday. You got them three boys running around that giant ass farm of yours and everything. So thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Oh, you know what? There's a bunch of mud out there in the field, so I threw some clothes on them. I said, get out and see you in a little while.
Oh, great. You get an hour's worth of cleanup later. Awesome.
Yeah. You know what? Break out the pressure wash. It'll be good, man.
That's it.
How you doing this morning?
Us, it was the garden hose, man. Hey, I'm great, man. You know what? I actually woke up, to quote Baker Mayfield. I don't know why I'm quoting Baker Mayfield. I hate the Browns. But I woke up feeling dangerous, man. It's one of them days I woke up feeling really good. So,
You know what, brother? I woke up.
Yeah, I woke up. Right.
So, you know what? I woke up on the right side of the dirt, so I'm thinking I'm already starting off a plus, man. You can't get any better than that.
Good. Hey, so tell everybody where you're from, where'd you grow up, and what led you to the Marine Corps?
Well, I grew up in a small little town in Northeast Ohio, in a place called Diamond, Ohio. I am a veteran. My family has all been military. My grandfather had almost 40 plus years. My mom was one of the first special force females in the Army during Vietnam. My father was in the Army. Aunts, uncles, Army. I had my brother went in the Army, and then I branched off to the Marine Corps because you know why? Because we look good in our dress blues.
I knew it. I knew
so,
that.
I'll never forget that time. Come on, you got to admit it. We look good. And I'll never forget that my grandfather told me, he said, lad, what were you thinking? You're breaking the family tradition. And I told him, I said, deny it. I said, tell me, we look good in our dress blues. You know this. And he's like, you know, that's the only thing you could have said. And I'll never forget that moment, man. It was pretty cool. So, yeah, I grew up there. I grew up in the country sticks here in Diamond, went to Marine Corps, and went through boot camp. I was another grunt coming through the process, and then branched off to, basically an 0352 tow gunner, and then had some fun blowing shit up.
So just explain to everybody what a tow gun is. I know what a tow gun is, but tell everybody what it is.
So basically a tow gunner is a tube-launched, off-lead tracked, wire-guided missile you can fire from the ground or on a Humvee. Basically when tanks or trucks were trying to get away or something like that, you can actually steer this thing, this missile. It's got two wires coming out the back of it. So I could steer it just like you were steering your car, so you couldn't get away up to 5,800 meters. So it was pretty cool.
Wow, 5,800 meters. That's like 17,000 feet, man.
A little way.
3 miles.
That's a lot of, yeah, it would travel, man. We had some good shoots out on the West Coast, and yeah, $20,000 a pop. You know, they wouldn't let you just go and blow it off all the time. Man, I was kind of sad. But I got my first tow missile on camera, man. It was pretty good picture.
Nice.
I blew the tank turn off one of the tanks. It was a good time. You know, there's there's those times you have that some things, you just never forget. And, stuff like that. Unfortunately, after my injury, I lost pretty much all my memory from childhood and everything before that. But, I see pictures, I see things, and you can't tell if it's a dream. Was it real? Certain things in your head just start like, that was a memory, and then you see pictures. So now I take 3 million pictures a day to help me focus through the day and everything. So
Okay.
it was a blast, man. I wouldn't change it for the world.
No. Hey, when did you join? When did you go to boot?
So I went to boot camp in October '93. I end up leaving boot camp. Went straight to school of entry down there by Camp Lejeune. That was my main duty station there. And then I end up getting out. I spent almost 8 months in the hospital in my final injury. And in '99, I end up leaving Camp Lejeune, heading back to Ohio.
Okay. So tell me about 93 to 99. That was some pretty quiet times, unless you were doing the cleanup stuff over Northern Watch, Provide Comfort, Southern Watch, things like that. But Haiti was going on at that time. Can you tell me about Haiti?
Haiti, well, when we first got into, I was with 1st 98th Marines. We got stationed out and was doing a Guantanamo Bay trip down to the Grand Turks, setting up, basically we were finding a lot of Haitians and a lot of people coming through the ocean front that just didn't make it, and they were all trying to get to the U.S., a lot of bad times. So basically what we had was we'd find them here and there. We'd find boats kind of making it through, and they'd do some tests. And basically, fortunately, it was, 60, 70% of them had AIDS. So it was like they were sending so many back, but then they were offering, some to come to the States. And it was a mess. It was an absolute mess. They had, basically I was with Small Craft Company on another boat. We go out, for miles on end, finding, boats, bodies, stuff. It was crazy. So then we end up going back into Haiti and trying to restore peace. And it was a disaster, man. They have nothing, they're basically trying to take baths in our drinking water. And, you could tell the people that pretty much ran the place, they got what they wanted and pushed everybody else to the side. And we tried to restore what we could there.
A lot of warlords.
So then riot broke out one day. And, what's that?
There's a lot of warlords, right?
Yeah, you'd have one guy basically standing on top of the water buffalo, tell them they would try to decide, and guess what? We'll decide when you drink. And we were like bullshit, but we weren't really allowed to interfere in what they had going on, and it was a mess. We had a riot break out. One day we were there, and basically some of the concertina wire got poked down, and we had 25 Marines on front, side and side. We had Marines behind us with zippers and 870 shooting salt slugs and stuff like that. And it was turned into a mess. And I end up seeing a little kid that was in the mix, and I pulled him through. And I figured the guys behind us would snag him up real quick. Well, he ended up had a tent stake that we supplied CP tents with him, and sharpened a tent stake and stabbed me right in the back.
Wow.
And, that's when I turned around, I butt stroked him right in the forehead, got back online. And basically, I came back in there, and I got pulled out after everything was said and done. One, for some of the stuff that I did to the kid. They said he was an 8-year-old kid. I shouldn't have butt stroked him, split his head open, stuff like that. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, it's 120 degrees. I'm sweating. I got my flak. I got everything on. And all of a sudden, I'm like just reaching, and I'm getting my ass handed to me for what I did, breaking line. And then all of a sudden, I reached my hand in my back, and I just pulled it out, and it was just blood. And the staff sergeant that was there was just, he's like, "What the hell? What's going on?" They flipped it up and looked, and I told him, I said, "Hit me with something." And basically took me in, got me stitched up, and never heard another word about it. But yeah, it was it was a mess, man.
Did
Haiti was one of those places I guarantee you, I'd never go back. I wouldn't bother me one bit.
did that mess with your head at all?
You know what? You think you feel something, you understand something, and you think you have control, and at the drop of a dime, you don't. And that was one of the things that bothered me. I think the worst thing, I'll be honest with you, you can't you can't travel around and look at water the same way when you're pulling hundreds of bodies out from infants to grandparents on a daily basis. That's something you just don't do. And, there's never a second in the day that don't pop my mind about it. I see things that, that just ain't never going to leave my head.
Right.
And,
you talk about
trying to learn to get around that stuff is
not looking at water.
It's rough, but you know what? I mean, it's kind of like, somebody that almost goes down in a plane crash. They're a healer, just the thought of hearing that plane in the air, it's going to kick you right back. Well, it's hard because it's water. There's water everywhere. I live on a farm. That. It was hard for me to get past that point. I don't think I'll ever get past it, but it's ways of working through it, on a daily basis that help, me continue to do what I do.
Right.
I mean, shit, I got married on the beach. My wife and I wanted to, yeah, trust me, brother. It was up, but you know what? The things and the courage it takes you to step up and do those things that, you feel uncomfortable with. And, my wife's pretty much the one that, handles everything, and I'd do anything for her.
Yeah, you and I have had that conversation. Your wife is a saint, man. She's awesome, and I can't wait to meet her. So,
Absolutely.
Tell me about.
She is a savior, man.
She is. I've always said the toughest job in the military is the military spouse. They have to deal with that kind of thing. They deal with us at home when we're not in our own element, and to still be there after we go through all these things and not leave us is an absolute testament to the fact that every military wife and mother ought to qualify for sainthood immediately.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes in it, man, because they're the ones that see the stuff behind closed doors. And that's one of the things my wife, when it comes to either 23 pills a day or, waking up in the middle of the night, or, my biggest, with the brain injury and the memory, it just sucks. I forget this. I ask her the same questions 300 times. And, she's like, you just said that or this and that, or my parents, somebody saying, I'm ready to fight tooth and nail, say, no, I didn't, I'm curious. But now she's to the point where she gets it, to where it's understanding. If I ask her the same question 5 times, what's going on today? I mean, shit, if it wasn't for her, I'd probably be sleeping still. It's just my mind, man. It sucks, everybody, and I hate that, because as veterans too, somebody that deals with stuff on a TBI basis, they don't understand people, and I'm sure you get, you're getting older, you just forget a lot, you know what? No, my head was freaking this big. I was swelled up in a hospital, lay there paralyzed from the neck down for how long? You know what? When you got tubes and shit running everywhere, and you got a brain injury, that's it happens.
So do you know what happened? Do you know about your accident? Do you have a memory of that?
Yeah. I kind of, from what people told me a little bit. So what happened, we come back home from there, and we end up deployed from, I think we were a month and a half or something. We got deployed back with the 24th MEU, where we ended up going back out on right into Kuwait City. And basically, at the end of Desert Storm, a lot of cleanup shit was going on. Somalia and shit like that. That was another mess that we had. And, it was just a basic cleanup deal, watch, security, stuff like that. And then came back home. And then we were getting ready to get deployed again. And so they wanted to do some mountain warfare training with Bridgeport. And that was basically where my career took a sudden change. We were doing a mountain out there called 9494. And me and two other Marines, there was our whole battalion was going, and weapons company. And just by luck, you had 25, 30 Marines already past this corner of the cliff. And all of a sudden, it was just my time. We had a cliff edge break. The Marine in front of me and the Marine behind me took a fall. My problem was I had my rifle and I turned to the side, and something steady, it happens, your whole body tenses up so hardcore. Well, I went down about a foot, and instead of sliding and going down, I went backwards because my legs locked and it pushed me off the side. I guess I hit a tree trunk about 20 feet down. It kind of knocked me out. And then I landed at the bottom, about 50 foot down. That was wedged me in a corner. So I think if I would have landed like this, I'd be dead. Luckily, there was kind of an edge. And unfortunately, it was hot as shit. So I took my helmet off, had it in my pack. So when my back hit, that's basically what broke my back, was me landing flat on my back with the helmet in my pack.
No.
So they said that I basically was, I'd wake up periodically because they had to try and rappel down just to get to me. First of all, some of the guys that I remember speaking with afterwards, they were covering their ears because I was like so scared, I was like, just like screaming, like, what the hell? Because unfortunately I was wedged in, everything was black, and you're like, what the hell's going on? You're screaming. Guys seriously told me, they were like, it's going to give them nightmares here. And, shit, I was just like, until I heard somebody's voice, I'll never know who it was. Basically they got down to me and I was in and out. They realized right off the bat that I was paralyzed because they started feeling all my body. I felt nothing, knew nothing, in and out of consciousness. Everything was a blur. And they end up basically taking me down this 300-yard mountainside on a gurney to a road where a Humvee was waiting. And to the first open field, they had a helo lifeline me to a hospital. And they pulled me in and said, sorry, this guy's, he's in bad shape. Took me back out, put me in another hospital. And I was on the West Coast and flew me into WashU Medical Center in Reno, Nevada, to where I stayed there for a while in the ICU unit, and kind of got me back on track where I needed to be.
Wow. You've had
yeah, it was a long journey there. I mean, it was a little while, just it was such a blur. I don't remember pretty much a lot of that. I do know that my parents tell me it's like they'd be talking to me on the phone, kind of, and I'd be out. It was hard being away from your family, and you have nobody there except for a couple nurses, and they're just, it was a crazy, crazy time.
Were you married?
Yeah, I was married then. And basically it was still on my own. They wouldn't even fly my wife at the time over there.
Wow.
So it was a mess. They said, no, we're going to get him back home. It took a while. It took a few months. Went from there to Oakland Naval Facility, to Texas, to Walter Reed, up that way, and then finally back towards Camp Lejeune, to where my duty station was. And it was a mess, man. And it's just been continuous, rides the whole way. You don't know what the next day is going to bring. Are you going to be able to walk? Are you not going to be able to walk? What kind of migraine is going to shut you down? Is your body going to work? it was a disaster, but it kind of, I tell you what, making it through that was a push. It was an eye opener how I was even still alive. You know, it was, so many people were just blown away by it. So I was, you know, like I always tell everybody, a couple bad days in the Marine Corps kind of my, you know, ended that career there. But you know, it gives me one hell of a freaking story to freaking go where I'm at now.
So what happened to the other two guys?
One guy had a compression fracture through his leg. I guess his fibula came up through his kneecap. The other guy had a broken collarbone. They were lucky; they caught like a 10-foot ledge, so it wasn't as bad. But with me, how I turned and shot back, I went off the whole cliff.
Wow.
So it was basically, it was. I tell you what, I don't remember. It's weird. It happened so fast. I don't even remember anything about it. Maybe
So
it's a good thing. I don't know.
This was 20 years ago. You've been dealing with this for 20 years. Uncounted amounts of surgeries. Can you go through some of the stuff that you've got going on in your body? You were telling me, you know, you basically got computers controlling everything for you. So tell me about that.
So yeah, I got well, it started off, you know, when I started getting a little better. I had a few good years of better healthiness, you know, to where my body was young, you know, thank God I was younger when I had this, you know, massive injury. But unfortunately it took you back to it's going to catch up to you. So, you know, I was 20 some years old, get my first back surgery, started procedures right away. I've had over 24 procedures just alone. I've had now 5 major back surgeries. Started off to where they were doing laminectomies, where they were taking pieces and parts out of my vertebrae. It continued to crush my sciatic, what I originally injured. Lost all the feeling and use of my left leg below the knee. That started getting worse. They did another surgery. They went up from L5 to 4. And then all of a sudden they were like, listen, you know, we keep doing these surgeries. I think you need to look at maybe possibly getting into us replacing vertebrae with synthetics now. And I'm like, wow, are you serious? And they're like, we're going to take your old vertebrae out. We're going to put them in a blender. I said, because I told him, I said, you need to slow this down. Tell me what's going to happen. So you take my vertebrae out of my body, put it in a blender, basically, pull bone marrow from my body, put it in there, grind it all up. And they're going to reset these new vertebrae inside my body. And then they're going to use that bone marrow and fragments as filler around. So my body kind of accepts, you know, the new vertebrae. And then what they did was kind of bird cage me up. So they started from the S1 and started working your way up from the S1 to L5 to L4, and they bird caged me up, and then they end up had to fuse me, start from the bottom up. So I'm basically, it's just like continuous metal going up, and then it was another surgery, and then you know, obviously the addition of pain. The addition of that, it's just continuous, you know, your core is, you know, the lower back is everything. So step by step is just getting harder and harder. Right. So then they put new things. The last thing, they put a attachment, my spinal cord and my T8 vertebrae. Now I have the dual stem stimulators and those machines that I got to charge up every day to basically keep my body going. And it's so yeah, it was crazy, man. It's a wild ride. You never know what I'm blessed with every day. That's the way I look at it. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So many things. I mean, we could sit here and talk all day, but it's the drive afterwards, and the support system is basically, for me, what made it through.
Right. And that's where I want to go. Did you have at any time were you addicted to the pain pills? Did you ever go down, the dark road and, is this all worth it? And if you did, what got you out of it? What finally snapped in you where you said, I can't live like this anymore. I got to do something better.
Yeah, it got really bad. I'll tell you what, I was going through a rough period of just getting done with a marriage. And, even when I was in the hospital and I was laid up paralyzed, that was my first thing, because I started already having problems from, nightmares and issues from what I did overseas. And when we were in freaking, picking up bodies, you pick up, 50 bodies a day on a 3-month basis, freaking floaters all over the place. I mean, it could do nothing but store your mind. So after my injury, unfortunately, some things don't go away. I wish that was one of the things I did forget. But yeah, I was in the hospital laid up, and I was done. It was, you give yourself a little bit of leeway time when you start getting your bearing back, and then it's like, no. And then I had that little bit of drive, that taste of freedom again, when I could start feeling parts of my body, and it gave me motivation. And, I had a daughter at the time that was, that was my everything. I'm like, man, how am I going to be a father and all laid up like this? And, as a burden, I didn't want to be part of it. But then it was my daughter that kind of thought and drove me where I needed to be. And then,
tell me how
so I got out and I went through all this stuff, and it was surgery. Say again?
Tell me how your daughter was your drive. What did she do?
You know what? It's the thought of her not having that father figure in her life. I wanted to make sure that I could be there every step of the way from start to finish. Being a parent as a father, it's not a, hey, let me do it for a little while and see you later kind of deal. That right there was my inspiration, I've always wanted to be that coach. I've always wanted to be that father. I've always wanted to be that guy to take her to that next level in life of, like schooling and college and things like that. And I mean, I thought about the distant future, and it definitely helped me. My parents were huge. My parents, drove me continuously to get better and better and be there the whole time. My mother and father, I wouldn't be here, that's another one. That's where I am today without them two right there.
Right.
Then my deepest, darkest time came, I think, when I was getting better. Unfortunately, I was going through that time about 2009, 10, where it was like the pain was taking over, the pain pills were taking over, the alcohol was taking over. I'm in a civilian world now, and my friends are like moving away because of things that I thought were funny and good, that I would talk about, and they're like, man, Miller, what the hell, how can you laugh about that? You do things here and there in the military, that what we do and certain things we do to survive and make it through a day is one thing. But people not in the military that don't get that, they're like, pushing you away, shying away. And I lost a lot of friends that didn't get it. And it was hard, that transition back of trying to get back in that swing of things, or, making it through a day. And it's like, then it comes to that point. It's like, is it worth it? It's just, is there a light at the end of this tunnel? I don't know. Let's take another pill. Let's drink another beer. And it's just, it got so bad to where, I'm on 7, 8 Percocet 10s a day. I'm drinking a 12 pack, and I'm doing this like it's nothing, and starting on a bottle. And, it was like, shit, man. And then my light came. I had that opportunity. What drove me in that whole different direction was, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go back to college. I said, I got to do something with my life. I got to get my brain, house, and group back in order. And the first semester I go back to college is when I meet my wife, Elizabeth. And I was in a bad state, bar fights, doing stupid stupid stuff, not caring about anything. And
So hold on a
this was
second.
like a
Hold on
whole
a
new
second.
world for me.
Hold on. Don't
shit.
skip over the bar fights. You were just a paralyzed Marine. You had no feeling in your body. You just told me you went through 24 spinal surgeries. And you're like, fuck it,
Procedure,
I'm
yeah,
gonna get
yeah.
in a fight. I mean, really, dude?
All right.
That's the kind of
Yeah,
shit
there was a
that
class. Okay.
don't get.
Okay, so what happened? Okay, you're indestructible. I've already had this shit happen to me. What can happen?
Right.
So you know what? Bar fights. What do they have? You know, I go to that AAA ball team, the semi-pro ball. You know, watch the game. end up all the players are there. They sucked, and I'm like, you know, alcohol's rocking it. They're all playing pool. So I walk over to the pool table, and I grab all the balls and start putting them in the hole. And they're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "My turn to play pool." And they're like, "Are you serious?" Well, I happen to know too. It was like, hey, I was like, what? There was like 12, 13 of you, and there was like 3 or 4 of my buddies, and they were like, "Miller, what are you doing?" I was like, "We're playing pool is what's going on." I was like, "Guys, they get in a fight, they get kicked off the team, they get thrown back to Puerto Rico, wherever they came from. A lot of the guys were different, different countries coming in." So I was just being a complete angry dick. And you know, those are some of the fights that led to, those damn jarheads, they don't shut up sometimes. They do stupid stuff, man.
I got, it's not just you,
I might have
Jarhead.
done that 1 to 10. That was my thing. That was my problem. I go into a bar and somebody be playing pool. I want to play. Well, I was bad at sharing as a kid, and it kept that way. You know, I got older and decided I'll let you know when it's time to play pool. And you know what? It always ended up in the same thing too, man. Pool sticks flying and balls flying, and hey, what do you do?
I got to tell you, man. I have to laugh. Same shit. Now I'm 5'10", 225, 230 now. Back in the day, I was 5'10", 155, 170, and I'd walk into this bar in Vegas, and they were, I think it was $10 all you could drink, draft beers, and the CFL team, the Las Vegas Posse, would hang out here. Now these guys are fucking huge, you know, they're 6'2", 6'4", 6'5", just brick shit houses, you know. And I'd do the same thing. I'd fucking pick a fight, you know. And I never understood why after about a month of this, I'd walk in the bar and the DJ would play 10 Feet Tall and Bulletproof. Well, it was because of me. I'd walk in and pick fights with these football players. And then they were like, "Bro, listen, I don't know what's up with you, but you're fighting with us every weekend. Why don't you just join us?" So I became friends with these CFL football players, you know, and they're leaving tickets for me at the game, and we're drinking on the weekends. And, you know, I thought that was cool. Come to find out it's not. I'm a much better individual now after not drinking for 12 years. But, you know, I think it's just in us. It's just in us to pick a fight against the odds and come out on top. And that's what we did. Yeah. And that's what we do. So, yeah, I don't mean to take you off your story, but
it happens.
I had to laugh when you said
happens,
I'm picking
man.
Bar fights, you know?
Well, you know what? You have that anger build up, you know, as well as I do. Sometimes it's easier to just unlash it on somebody that's it's kind of what we did. You know, how many bar fights when you were sitting there and, you know, I know down at Camp Lejeune, you know, that's all we did was drink. I mean, Marine Corps, guess what? You drank. You go to the bar, you fight, you come back, you see them the next weekend and have another beer with them. You know, it was constantly going. But, you know, it was part of life. When I came home, and that was one of the ways that I got out was, you know, taking my aggression out. Unfortunately, I had no right doing what I was doing with my injuries and what could have happened, you know, but I don't know, man. You know, when you start losing everything that you thought was important, you just find a way to let it out. And it was that day when I met Elizabeth that I realized that's not what I want to do. That's not what I want to be. she helped me give the understanding of life a lot, because it was the caring aspect that went over and above. It wasn't a, hey, and when I see you, it was a 24/7, I'll text you all the time, talk to you, that gave me, the life of, wow, this is pretty cool. It's something like this that can help take that pain away and help take those dreams out of your head for that moment. And she was there, and she was there 110%, and she hasn't stopped since. So I mean,
That's
it's still, it's a day, trying to adjust to people that civilian life, and go back to college, man. Here I am, like the older college guy that's already been through around the world a little bit, knows and seen a bunch of shit. And so, they come up to me, and, I'll be honest, for some of these college kids supposed to be smart, they were some of the dumbest individuals I ever met. I've had better intelligence come from like the middle school class I went in and did like student teaching at, or something like that. It was like, some of these guys were just stupid, man. Oh man, first question's always the same. Did you kill anybody? How many people did you kill? This and that. I'm like, man, I killed a lot of time. I killed a lot of beers. This and that. What do you get out of here? They want to hear the stupid shit and think they're funny. To me, it wasn't about that. Yeah, I mean, so you have a college fight here and there once in a while with idiots in class, but I learned to get that aggression and shit under. I mean, I guess hitting somebody with a computer or coffee cup, man. They learned to, hey, you know what? We'll stay away from that guy and don't ask him the questions. It worked out good for me. And of course, we're always back against the wall. Our entrance ways, we're looking where we're going to go if anything goes down. And I was like that in every class. And for some reason, my wife sat beside me, and I was like, whoa, check you out. And,
you were like, whoa, what are you doing?
What? I sat beside you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, shut up.
Oh,
TBI.
so
I
here
thought
comes
she sat
Elizabeth
beside me.
from
She
the
must
back.
have seen me and was like, man, look at this guy.
Here
All
comes
right, we're not
Elizabeth
bringing
from
her
the
on.
back
She
row.
might tell other stories, man.
Oh, that's funny. All right. In case you didn't hear that, Elizabeth chimes in from the back room. You sat beside me.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Well, maybe. What do you do, man? You see a smoking hot girl sitting there, you're going to sit next to her.
well, hell
Hey,
yeah.
remember Marine Corps, never give up, never quit, all that good shit.
Great. So you meet Elizabeth.
Babe, I hear the kids are,
Things start happening for you. Things start getting
what's
better.
that?
I said, so you meet Elizabeth, you get your degree, things start happening for you. And then about 3 years ago, you get involved with some incredible organizations. Why don't you tell me about that?
So, my wife, big into running, athletic, working out and everything like that. So for her birthday, I bought her a trip to Walt Disney World to go down and run the Walt Disney World Princess Run Marathon thing down there. So, it was a nice trip. I knew it was something different, and I had a friend that lived down there. So we went down there and had a blast, and we stayed at the Shades of Green. Yep. And I'm sitting there early in the morning, and as I don't know if a lot of people know, Shades of Green is the military resort right in Walt Disney World that you actually, everything is like tax-free, and it's like low payment, beautiful room at this place right for $100 a night. You can't beat it.
Yep.
And so I'm sitting down there in the morning and just getting a cup of coffee, and a guy comes up behind me, and he's got a service dog. And at that time, I battled, I've had how many surgeries, and still trying, obviously it's just a continued challenge every day. And I told him about this group in New York. It was like 16 months. I was waiting for a service dog, and like the 17th month I called just to check up, say, hey, how things go? And they had no paperwork or anything on me. That was a breaking period. It was just, I was asking and looking for help. And forget that group, because a guy by the name of Chris Roseberry and his beautiful wife and their service dog was sitting right behind me at the Shades of Green, which changed my life forever. I turned around, looked at him. Chris Roseberry is one of the most amazing guys I've ever met. He was a almost 20-year Army vet that lost his leg, and while he was serving, he was in a motorcycle accident and came back after a few years of rehabilitation, everything, got his stuff together and went back on full duty. And basically another 14 years, he was, rocking his military career, with one leg. And he says, the day I can't, have his soldiers and he can't do what his soldiers do is the day he'd call, but he was still rocking it. Did a couple tours over in Afghanistan, Iraq, and basically had an RPG come into him to where he got hit and blown up and end up injuring his leg again. And they ended up having to take a few more inches off his leg. And by that time he was already, 17, 18 years in, and they came to him and they're like, listen, it's time. And Chris realized, I think it was time. So after hearing that story, it was like another motivation. I'm like, here's a guy, one leg, almost 20 years in service with one leg. And, maybe 60% of people can spend that time, their whole career in the military, with a healthy body, and he's became not only one of my best friends, but an inspiration to me. And I asked him about it, and I said, your service dog, guess what? He goes, I can help you out, brother. He introduced me to a gentleman named Andy Glassing. Him and his wife, they started the Dogs for Our Brave. And at the time, Chris and his wife were running the Travis Mills Foundation up in Rome, Maine. So at the same time, I got information on a service dog, and then all of a sudden an email saying, hey, you know what? Why don't you come up and see what we're about? So that was in 2017. I think it was 17. Basically made our first trip up to the Travis Mills Foundation, and just fell in love. I mean, just the people. They bring up 8 veterans and their families every week, all expenses paid. And you get to basically go with 8 other veterans that have suffered that catastrophic injury and that fight every day like we do. And, what works for you? What works for me? What works for this guy? And you get that round together. Not only that, but the wives, the caregivers, they're up there doing the same thing. They're like, what works for you? What works for me? And then you build a bond, and then it's like a family. And it's like, now here we are years later, and we grew with these families up at the Travis Mills Foundation and become great friends. And they called back upon me, and Travis, who is a buddy of mine who lost both arms and legs in the war, he called me back and says, man, you got a hell of a story. Some of the stuff you've been through, the way you speak, the way you move. He said, I would love to have you as an ambassador, and, we can basically do different events, helping raise money for the Travis Mills Foundation. Well, during that time was going on, Dogs for Our Brave let me in and basically opened their hearts and doors to me and lined me up a dog. And almost a year and a half, 2 years later, Zulu pops into my life. So now, as much as she's changed my life, Dogs for Our Brave is one of those organizations that, they spent every $30,000 in training. They send food to my house every month, all vet bills, pharmaceutical needs, equipment, whatever Zulu needs, they pay for everything. They want zero money out of the veterans' pockets. And, that's huge, taking that medical burden, because, a lot of us live on our disability. A lot of our wives are caregivers. We're not making millions anytime soon.
Right.
So they take the complete medical, the money burning out of everything. And it's huge. So then now that's some of the things I do is I took it upon myself to start making things happen. And for what's helped change my life, I'm part of that team again. So here I am traveling, whether it's, like down on the field with the Dallas Cowboys, down there with Jerry Jones and Zeke and all these guys are there freaking, and we get to meet and do this fundraiser there. Then we go to Palm Springs to do a fundraiser there. And it's, whether it's the Dallas Cowboys or whether it's, different organizations that see this and want to post for them, that's what I do, man. And I tell you what, meeting some amazing people along the way, it's unreal.
Right. Right. It is.
That's one of the things. It's the people that have faced my challenges. And what I want to do is, if you're having that problem that I have, I want to be able to send you, maybe I can help you. What's helped me? It's being reconnected with that brotherhood again, and basically getting you around other vets that face it. And nobody gets it better than we do.
Right. And that's
one of the things I love.
That's what you and I talked about, where, the reason I do what I do is because not everybody has that catastrophic injury. Not everybody has that, that paralyzing injury or that TBI. I broke my back at 19 and I have the L4, L5, S1 fused, but I did my 23 years with a busted back. They didn't know that it was broken in the military. They overlooked it. And when I had a car accident, they found it 10 years later. And at the time, they didn't want to do anything about it. Civilian docs were like, look, just let it go until it gets so bad. And then I wound up like you, where the left leg would go numb, or both legs would go numb from the knee down. And, that starts a challenge. And then when you get it fused and 2 rods and 6 screws and some of the hardware breaks, and you're like, now I got to deal with chronic pain every day. And I just wanted to get my story out that, look, you don't have to be these guys that have these catastrophic injuries to have struggles. You are an incredible story, an incredible motivator. The way you tell your stories are fantastic. How you came about with Chris and Andy and Travis and all those guys. And for those that don't know, Travis Mills is the only living quadruple amputee from the wars, correct?
There are a group, I want to say there's 5 now.
Oh, wow.
From what I hear, there are 5. He's one of 5 living quadruple amputees. So it was, it's crazy. I mean, this is guy, I'll tell you what, if you ever have a chance to meet somewhere, go to where he's speaking. We did an event here last year in Cleveland. It was, I think one of the biggest, one of my biggest things is I'm this close to hitting $3 million so far that I've raised for the veterans and being a part of this. And that's huge for me, because never once have I ever taken a dime from anything. It's been zero, because you know what? I start with nothing. I end with nothing. I'm good with that. But what I did was, I know that somehow, some way, there's a guy that was just like me, that was facing that struggle, might hear that, and be like, hey, what's this about? And, that could change his whole life with these veterans killing themselves every day. You know what? We did this event in Cleveland. We raised $1.6 million last year.
In one event.
If it wasn't for this, in one event. That was up with the Trib show.
Yeah.
And, me, Bernie Kotar, Dave Mortosh Financial, that guy freaking is unbelievable. I can't tell you enough. Dave has more energy. The guy bounces off walls, man. But, my brother brought a check, like he does a car show with the Travis Mills Foundation. He brought $7,000, and Dave walked over to the check, and he matched everything up to $500,000. He crossed off the $7,000 and put $14,000, shook my brother's hand, gave him a hug, and said, thank you. And you're like, holy shit, he matched up $500,000.
Wow.
And not to mention, we were able to raise that extra. It was a crazy, crazy day. It was amazing. And that's what I love pushing. And that's what I love being a part of. We just had a big truck and tractor show last month when all this COVID stuff going on, because this company, Charchone, Chevy and Ford, Charchone decided they weren't able to do something for us this year, and they wanted to do something. We're in this small little podunk town out by freaking Salem and Columbiana out there. All of a sudden, we have this event, we have this show, and guess what? We raised $100,000 almost. I'm like, and that's what these organizations survive by.
Right.
They're minimal staffed, but they do the best they can. Volunteers from the Travis Mills Foundation come from everywhere, California, Arizona, Texas. They fly in just to volunteer and help veterans for the week.
Yeah.
You know, and it's unreal. Same with Dogs for Our Brave. You know, they're in Dogtown, Missouri, just bought their first building last year, and you got people from all over coming to want to help. Let's walk a dog. Let me clean up. Offering events, offering fundraisers. That's where it happens, man. That's where it comes from.
It is,
You know, and we wouldn't survive in those organizations. Yeah.
That's what makes us feel good. That's what gets us by. You know, some people claim, you know, we're selfish for the things that we do. Well, yeah, I'm selfish because I feel good, but I'm giving it away. That's how I'm keeping it. I'm helping out others that might not have the voice. You know, maybe there's another Chris out there who's going to wind up at a restaurant one night and he's whining or crying, not whining. He's crying because he can't get a service dog. You know, they're pissing and bitching with him and they can't find his paperwork. And the guy behind him has a service dog and turns around and says, "Hey man, I heard this podcast or whatever. And, man, have you tried Dogs for the Brave? Or, you know, have you heard about Travis Mills?" Or, you know, just to get the word out, to let people know that there are other avenues. You don't have to go to the VA. You don't have to go to the American Legion or the VFW or DAV. While those are all amazing organizations, our generation has a different need, has a different feel. We are a much different veteran than our Vietnam brethren were, or our World War II brethren are. We are more of the outgoing, outspoken, type people. And I think that is because we have more avenues to do so. You know, we have the internet, we have podcasts, we have YouTube, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have all these things that we can broadcast our platform, or we have platforms to broadcast ourselves on, to bring people together to donate. And there are people out there that want to help. Like you said, Dave up there, you know, just, hey, you get it up to $500,000, I'll match it, you know, and bam, here you are. You know, Save 22, Pegasus Farms, Sam Center in Massillon. There's so many things out there. Travis Mills, Dogs for Our Brave. You've got a great story from the Sarshone truck show a little bit, don't you?
Oh my God.
Can I get you to do it?
That story
Can I get you to do it for us? Can I get you to do it for us?
All right. So, all right. Here it is. I met one of the ambassadors for Travis Mills Foundation, lives in Augusta, Florida. He was on an event with me when we did down in Texas, and he fell in love with Zulu. He was like, now John is a brother of mine, and he was a 14-year Marine Corps Master Sergeant that due to another Marine's mistake, he ended up losing all the way up both legs, extremely high and extremely pain, limited mobility, even in his arms were destroyed by an ID. So we were doing this event. He's like, you know what? I tried getting a service dog before and somebody pushed one on me and it was not even good. Pulled him out of his chair. And he was like, he's never going to deal with that again. Well, he met Zulu, and come to find out, guess what? There's service dogs out there that are trained unreal. So he's next in line to get a service dog. So we were having this event at Truck Show, and I said, John's a great dude. I'd love to bring him up here. The trainer from St. Louis brought potentially his new service dog. And so here we are on this Mack trailer. Mack was one of the big sponsors for the show over there. John sitting behind me. And one of the Sarshone brothers, Jeff, basically, he was a lieutenant in the Marine Corps. He was over in Afghanistan and Iraq doing the same thing. And I've known Jeff for a couple of years since they've been doing this truck show with us. All of a sudden, he comes up. He's like, "Hey, Miller, what's going on?" I give him a hug. You know, we ain't seen each other in a little while. We keep in touch, but it's been a little while, you know. And I said, "Hey, you know what? What's going on?" He's like, "Who'd you bring this year?" I said, "Man, I gotta introduce you." I said, "One of the greatest Marines I've ever met. We get to do some events together. You know, he's unreal, man." So I turn around. I said, "Come here." And I yelled. I said, "John." I said, "This is John." And in Jeff's mouth, I hear him say, "Hayes." And I turn around. I'm like, "Wait a second, what?" And I turn around and I look at Jeff Charchon, and I'm like, and I see tears start coming from his eyes. And I look at John, and I see John's starting to butter, like, you're seeing a ghost. Well, come to find out of all the Marines throughout the world and all the Afghanistan, Iraq wars, everything going on in this small little freaking place there, guess what? Jeff and John were stationed together. The last time Jeff seen John, it was after he blew up and he never knew if he lived or died. Jeff was there with John when he was hit and didn't even realize I was bringing him to this show 1,000 miles away. And it became like a reunion that you would never expect. He ran over to him, gave him a hug. And I tell you what, the trailer was full of tears and nobody knew it. And we're like, is this really going? What? Wait a second. There's no way this is happening right now. There's absolutely no way. And it was a 10-minute tear jerker, just an unbelievable time and an event that one right there, out of everything I think I've done all over the place, was probably my most memorable moment. Sealing the deal, and I knew nothing about it, and so they're reconnected again, man. So you got somebody like a guardian angel that's been there, seen you at your worst, and now they're carrying you through, man. It's crazy. So that story right there is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen happen in person, and I wish I could tell a million people about that one, because it just never happens, something like that.
That's fantastic, man. I got great chills. It's an amazing story. It's why we do what we do. It keeps you going, definitely keeps you going. So I don't want to keep you too long today, brother. I know you got the Rugrats running around in a muddy field out there, and you got to get the pressure washer out to hose them off. So tell me how people can get in touch with you, Travis Mills, and Dogs for Our Brave.
One of the things, reaching out, if you have questions at all on either organization, you can message me on Facebook at my Facebook page is Miller Miller. You can look into Dogs for Our Brave on Facebook or online, and you can do the same thing with the Travis Mills Foundation. Both cater to catastrophically wounded veterans. Both are organizations that are just huge. I mean, they're growing bigger and bigger because the demand for service dogs and the demand to help, injured veterans are still growing every day. Look them up, check them out. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a ring. It's what I do, man. And like I said, one person out of this podcast is interested in getting a service dog. You think a service dog might help you, give me a call, reach out. I have the ways to make it happen. There's a long list, a long line. It takes time, but it gives you hope knowing that in the end, it can happen. It can be there. And it's amazing.
Right. That's it. It's about giving the hope, because so many of us are.
Yeah. The biggest thing to me is, like I said, a lot of people don't have the support system that I have. A lot of veterans are out there. I see them alone, or battling through a day. It's easy to find that way of just giving up. I'm done. Forget it. I have those days all the time where the pain is just so much, and it's hard. But it's the struggle is make you stronger. But letting the veterans know that there's somebody out there in the same, wearing the same shoes, boots, ready to fight the fight. It's you're not alone. Make the call. There's organizations out there that can help you go on hunting trips, can send you here, send you there, help get you back in the outdoors, find a way. Independence Fund is another dear organization that's huge to me. I mean, they got me on stage with Florida Georgia Line, and they gave me my track chair. So now here I am, walking's, hard for me. So I get in this track chair. I'll take the boys out shroom hunting or shed hunting, come spring, or just going for a walk, taking them to the zoo, taking them trick or treating. They don't have to worry about me anymore. But there's organizations out there like that care and will do anything in the world to help make your life an easier one, to keep you here. And that's what I love about them, man.
Brother, you are amazing. I don't use this word very often. But man, I love you. I love you for your dedication, your motivation, the size of your heart. I'm so glad we met. I can't wait to come and hang out at that homestead. I want to get with you and the wife and the kids, and I want to see all this amazing stuff that these organizations have done for you. I've already seen the amazing things with Zulu. Man, I want to mutually benefit each other. Let's keep going. Let's get together. Let's promote each other. Let's help some vets out, man. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for us.
Absolutely.
All right, man.
I look forward to it, brother. I mean, like when we met, we both had that same drive. I mean, and that's, it's what's cool is you're close.
I am.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And ever since, even when I met you, man, you called me and you checking up on me. You know what? That it means a lot to me, and I appreciate it. The struggles and stuff that I've been going through lately, and all the issues kind of I'm fighting right now medically, and having some problems. And you know what? How many times have you called and reached out and texted me in the last, month since we met? It blows me away, and I love it because you know what? Your heart's, believe it or not, somehow bigger than your head, and that's a big head you got. And but it's man, it's like we're connected already, and man, I look forward to seeing what the future brings for us.
Absolutely, brother. Listen, I'm gonna let you go. Give that wife Elizabeth a hug for me. I mean, just an absolute saint, and I'll be in touch, man. All right.
Absolutely, it was my pleasure, my honor, brother. You take care of yourself.
All right.
And God bless you, brother. Keep it going.
All right, brother. Take care. I'll see you around. Wow. What a story. He got involved with Dogs for Our Brave and Travis Mills Foundation by accident down at Shades of Green in Disney. Chris is a fantastic guy. Gives a lot back to the veteran community. Can't wait to get involved with him a little bit more. Find him on Facebook at Miller, and you'll find him there, and you can message him about Dogs for Our Brave. You can also get online and find Dogs for Our Brave and the Travis Mills Foundation online and Facebook. You can reach out to me as well, Johnny Mo Media on Facebook, and I can put you in touch with the right people if you need a service dog. If you're struggling, if you've heard that you can't get a service dog, you don't qualify for a service dog, look, man, reach out. Our guys will do what they can to help you out. Okay. If you've suffered a catastrophic injury, TBI in the military, during your military service, reach out. We can get you up to the Travis Mills Foundation and, get you up there for a week with your whole family, and you can meet other veterans with the same injuries, same issues. The wives can have a reprieve and talk with other caregivers. The significant others can talk with other significant others about, their struggles, because they struggle with us. They struggle right along with us. And you know what? We want to give you a little break. We want to have you smile a little bit and get out and have some fun. So find us on Facebook at Johnny Mo Media, Instagram, Johnny Mo Media, YouTube, Johnny Mo Media. Email me at johnnymomedia@gmail.com. I want to hear from you. I really do. Let me know if there's anything that we can do for you, and we'd be happy to look into it for you. If you're struggling, if you're feeling like hurting yourself, if you're feeling like suck starting a pistol, call the Vet Crisis Line, 1-800-273-8255 and press 1. I made it. I made it through. I had my darkest day, and I'm still here. Look online for save22.vet. You can get into veterans motorsports. You can get into fishing trips, camping, hunting, equine therapy, where you have fishing in Ohio and the Carolinas. You know, apply, tell us what you want to do, and look, man, we'll let you have some fun. That's all we're here for, is just let's make you smile. Okay, let's get you back into the happy individual you were before. If you need help with VA claims, VA assistance, something's up with your house that the VA is just taking too long to fix, get a hold of Save 22. Maybe we can help you out. We've built ramps, we've built playgrounds, we've helped out financially. We've got guys' resumes written. We've found employment. We're quite the organization. Save22.vet. Don't make fun of their spelling and grammar on the website. That is run by Marines, so you'll have to be a little understanding and compassionate with them. It was developed with crayons and Elmer's glue, so be understanding. That's about all I got. Tune in next time, and who knows what we're going to have. The holidays are coming up. You guys need to be wary. Be aware of yourselves. Talk with your significant others. Let them know your triggers. Let them know that, hey, this might happen, or hey, this happens, or I might just need to have a break. If it gets too much for you, man, reach out, send a message. Give me your phone number. I'll give you a call. I'll talk to you. You're not going to bother me. Okay. It might not be right away, but I'll get back to you. I promise. Like Dave says, man, we'll get through it together. Talk to y'all later.